Well, back in 2016, I went to see the doctor because I had experienced a little unusual bleeding. And her initial assessment was that there was a tumor and she needed to do a biopsy. And I did have a tumor and I was diagnosed with cervical cancer. And I asked the doctor here in town, well, what are we looking at? And she said, I'm going to give you a referral to a university hospital for a radical hysterectomy and radiation. Well, I had already heard about Cancer Treatment Center. I had known a dear friend that had gone there and had received successful treatment. So I told my doctor, I asked her, I said, are you familiar with Cancer Treatment Center? She was not, but I said, well, I'm going to be calling them and see if I can go there. So I did. And I was extremely impressed with my first call. Within just that very day, paperwork was sent to me. I was able to get it filled out. And we left it with, they would get back with me on the following Monday morning. And on Monday, they called, Cancer Treatment Center called me and said, Debra, we have an appointment scheduled for you. And I just have to tell you, I broke down crying. And I just said, you're going to take me? And they said, well, of course we're going to take you. So up we went. And you go up first for a consultation. They provided a motel for us to stay at. They gave us meal tickets. Our food was free. And I started there, and they gave me all kinds of tests. I had not had any other kind of test back at home, just an ultrasound and the biopsy. At Cancer Treatment Center, they gave me a colonoscopy. They did an MRI. They did CT scans. They had the doctor examine my bladder. And at the end, a PET scan. And all of this was done, and all of it was done there. And within the three days, I believe it was, in order to see if there was a cancer anywhere else in my body. And that had never even been mentioned back home. So we came back with the report that no, there was no other cancer in my body, just there in the area where it had been diagnosed. So I had met with Dr. Beck and Dr. Karen Samorsky, which they're wonderful. They're just wonderful doctors. Everybody at the center is wonderful. And every technician, every nurse, everyone that I met with and helped me. But Dr. Beck said, well, we would recommend radiation and maybe some chemotherapy. And I remember asking him, oh, there's not any surgery? And he said, well, no, Mrs. Baldwin. He said, your tumor is too big to do surgery. We couldn't do surgery on that tumor if we wanted to. Our goal is to shrink and kill your tumor. And that right there just kind of told me that if I had gone the other route with a tumor that was too big to be surgically removed, I honestly don't believe that I would even be here today, because I don't believe they could have got all the cancer, and I don't think it would have gone well for me. So we made our plans to come. And my husband was pastoring a small biker church at that time. We were into motorcycles. And so we would have our church on Sunday morning, and then we would leave for Cancer Treatment Center. It's about 4 hours away from where we lived. It's actually a very nice drive. We didn't encounter Chicago traffic with state highways and roads. And I really came to enjoy that little country roads as we would go into Zion, Illinois. So we would stay at the motel all week, and on Fridays after my radiation treatment in the morning, then we would go back home. So that's how our about 2.5 months went for us while I was treating. So I had 5 weeks, let me think. 5 weeks of daily external radiation treatments. And then I had 6 chemo treatments, and those were done only on a Monday. So I would have the radiation in the morning, and then usually later in the afternoon, I would go back in and have the cisplatin chemo treatment. Now, a lot of times people will say, well, what kind of side effects, how did you feel? And I am honestly telling you that the only side effect I had during that treatment time was just fatigue and tiredness. Every question the nurses would ask me, like at radiation, do you have burning? Do you have this? The answer was no. I felt very good, except for being tired by the end of the day. I felt so well, in fact, that my husband brought the motorcycle up. We kept it parked at the motel. And on the days like Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we would go for motorcycle rides after I had my radiation in the morning. So that's how well I felt. Again, like I said, I did get tired. By the end of the day, I was very weary and I was tired. But other than that, I really experienced no side effects from the chemo or for the external radiation. After the external radiation and after the chemo, my final month up there in July, I had 5 of the brachytherapy treatments, and those were intense. They didn't seem so at that time, but now looking back, I'm thinking, wow, because I had 5 epidurals in 1 month in order for them to do those internal radiation treatments. But at the end of July, I believe it was July 27th, for my final, when I went in to see the doctor, there was no evidence of the mass. It was gone. And I continually thank God and Cancer Treatment Center for being allowed to go there and for the treatment that they provided for me, because it was just so successful, and they're so kind and they're so loving, and everything is done for you as an individual. I often felt like if I had gone into the other hospital, it would have been like I was just on a conveyor belt and, this is what you have up, this is what we do. It's not like that at Cancer Treatment Center. I met so many wonderful people there, and everything is formula. Your treatment is specific for what you need. I met other ladies that had surgery for the same kind of cancer I did, but their case was different than mine. It's very personalized, and that's what makes the difference, I believe, because they look at you as an individual and what your body really needs. So I tell everyone that is willing to listen about my experience there, and I encourage anyone that has encountered cancer for themselves or for a family member or for a friend. I always ask them, please just give Cancer Treatment Center a call and get a second opinion. Again, while we were there, we met so many wonderful people and heard so many amazing stories of people that, one story I heard that it's so hard to believe. He was told 4 weeks to live with lung cancer. And here he was 2 years later coming in for a checkup. And he was doing well. And so I did follow up with all my checkups. The first 3 years, the doctor had me come in every quarter. And so we'd make our trip there. And then the last 2 years, every 6 months. And then now I will be going back in May. That will be starting for once a year to go back for checkups. And so far, everything has been good. There's been no reoccurrence and everything's looked very well. And I just, again, so thankful to Cancer Treatment Center and all the doctors and all the nurses and everyone that assisted in my treatment.